guys, what is going on? Red Mash here, and welcome back to an episode of Hidden Combos, where today we are going to be going into the deck that I used in the previous video against Monger. It is the Santa deck that I've been sort of formulating and messing around with for the past few days. I wanted to put this out sooner, but I've, unfortunately been feeling under the weather the past few days. At this point, I think I'm finally in the right health to make this video. So that being said, guys, let's just jump right into it and show you. I don't really have a name for it as well, so I think I'm just gonna have to. What should I name this this deck? I think we'll name it. Yeah, yeah, Santa is B. That's what we're gonna do. Santa is B. So here is the deck list for what I call Santa is B. Now there are a lot of things that might look odd or different than what you'd expect to find in a deck, especially one in the the ladder or competitive play. But of course, I'm trying to be a bit experimental with this deck. I'm trying to throw a bunch of different cards in that you may not normally see in decks. So I'm going to try and break this down for you guys the best I can. And starting with Merciless Santa. Now, ever since I made my neutral tier list video, there's been a lot of debate on whether or not Santa is actually, a decent card. I marked him off as B, which in my playbook is sort of like average. It's not super competitive, it's not super useful. It may not go into every deck, but he is, he's above just mediocre. I think he's decently strong, especially when, you're looking at other cards like Barbarian and Flux in here. His stat line at 3-5 is nearly on par with Barbarian, being one attack off, and his cycling ability, the gift that you're getting for him, means that you're not really losing any you're not losing any cards from your hand here. So he's just easily replaceable. So I think that's something to definitely take note of too. I think another piece to go with that, not only the fact that he kind of replaces himself in your hand with a gift, that gift for you, can be a legendary card. So anything from Jonviev to Kraxus to Villaroth to Yenaroth, all cards like that, they can be brought into your hand via Santa. But a legendary can never go to your opponent. So if you got a legendary, you're always getting a better value than your opponent. So that's something to just take note of in the back of your mind too, for those of you who might be just still unsure about Santa. He can give you a legendary card. Your opponent cannot. So I think that's definitely a cool aspect of Santa. But Santa's not really the only thing that really is balance worthy in this deck. Obviously, we got the Hassan City Guards and the Shaman, just to name a few. I would add more, but right now, again, a little more experimental. So those are the only kind of 3 units that I put inside this bounce. And speaking of bounce, we really only are running Shadow Dance and the Forbidden Scroll in this deck. Forbidden Scroll is, again, purely experimental. I wanted to try out that 1/1 buff that, the card gives when when a unit returns to your hand. So making a more powerful Santa at like 4/6, or better Shaman at 3/5, that kind of thing. So, you could easily put a Shadow Slip in here as well to get more value out of a bounce, but I'm a bit shaky on that because I can get a lot of zombies in my hand with the Unholy Altar and having to replay all of those zombies from a weaker standpoint. So that's just something about Shadow Slip that I didn't like to include. But we do have Shadow Dance, I think is a nice sort of replacement for that. The Rebound means you're getting a free copy into your hand, so that's actually 6 bounce spells plus Forbidden Scrolls. So that's 8 bounce spells in the deck. And of course, you can bring Santa multiple times with that, Shaman multiple times, Hassan City Guard multiple times, etc. So, but aside from the bounce, there are a bunch of other cards that you currently see in the deck, from standard meta stuff to Dwarven Scope and Unholy Altar and Magic Eater to sort of non-meta stuff. We've got Pegacorn in here. We've got Lunging Attack, Dwarven Miner. Mugging might be in between the two. I know a lot of people don't like to run mugging, but I do, so that's sort of a 50-50, I guess. So there are a lot of different cards that you would expect to see, or that you see in this deck. A lot of them I've kind of already explained their purposes elsewhere. I mean, you've got the pretty standard Blacksmith Armory stuff. You've got Barbarian as sort of a decent muscle, same with Pegacorn and Swordsman. Magic Eater to sort of capitalize on the spells or the gifts from Flux or Santa, respectively. That can be pretty dangerous, and Magic Eater can ultimately be like maybe a trick up your sleeve to win games. Hassan City Guard, Lumberjack, Lunging Attack, so other interesting or standard stuff in the deck. I think it doesn't really do justice for me to talk about it because I've kind of already played this deck in several matches. I mean, not really several, but I have played this previously on the channel, which again you can go back and watch. I think those are also some great examples of the deck in action to really see how the deck works, both with and without Santa. But without further ado, I'll take you guys into the matchup and show you guys how the Santa deck actually works in combat. Alright, so I think we're going to keep this hand as, it's pretty good. We have the Lumberjack, we have an Archie, we have Hassan City Guards, all decently strong things. We'll open up with a Lumberjack. We do get a Pegacorn as well. I would like to see some Santas or Shamans, hopefully, maybe, at one point today. But we'll see, we'll see. Play Hassan City Guard as well to follow up the Lumberjack play. He can't really do anything turn 1 or 2, which is good for us. We'll start ourselves, we'll introduce ourselves to the board and whatnot. Okay, he'll start out with a Salahar Rider. First card he's ever played, actually. Can that hit the castle, please? Okay, hits the lower guard. Not the worst thing in the world, but like something a little bit better. We'll open up with or not open up. We'll play a Blacksmith, hit 3 more onto face here. Getting the damage like this is important. He doesn't have any sort of heals, as far as we know. Plus, he wastes a burn like that on our Blacksmith, so that takes most of his turn. That's always good for us. We'll probably have to follow up with an Archie play into an Unholy Altar. We have to get something on the board here, I guess, going, and it'll be a choice, I guess, between... Well, he could probably burn both, but I don't think he's going to. I mean, he easily could. What am I even saying? It's a, defective and a blue fire away, and boom. He just used his turn, that's all. And we're kind of back to where we started at that point. But we'll see. He's probably thinking about it because that is an option that he's got, but he probably doesn't want to leave that Hassan City Guard just continuing to knock face. I mean, if he wants to leave it there, it's completely fine at this point. I don't have a lot of buffs to, do stuff like that. Okay, there's a Manfish. Which is, okay, and that's it. That's interesting. We'll probably scope our dude here. I think at this point we might be safely out of burn range instantly for Archie, because Archie, or not Archie. There isn't any sort of further burns like Blue Fire or Defective to hurt us, so I think we're in a pretty good spot right about now. I think. And I would like to see though some Santa or something like that. We really haven't seen any of our bounce material, or we haven't seen any of our bounce spells, or we haven't seen any of our, like bounce targets, and bounce targets meaning things like, whatchamacallit, Santa or Shaman. Okay. That's all he plays, another unit for him to, I guess, at this point, sacrifice. Which is fine. Move our Lumberjack ever so closer. We'll also move our Pegacorn up. Move our zombies all around. We'll probably move a zombie up here as well to really assert ourselves on the board. Although he did just bounce up to 9 gold, so assuming he might have an Eternal Darkness play, perhaps. I'm not sure. Nothing really to justify an Eternal Darkness, though, from the deck. There's a Grendel. He's probably going to combine that with a Scope, right? Okay, he does. So that's going to get rid of our Arcanon right away. It will give us one more buff, though, before it leaves, so that's a good sign. Which means we'll probably be able to play our Armory and a second Eater to sort of just get him, like, worried. We'll trade with that Grendel. Our Lumberjack gets the buff. Intriguing. And then we'll probably just surround the castle at this point to really assert our dominance. At this point, I think the game's over. Not a lot of whole Santa in this round. But again, this is just a demo match to show how this deck can operate. I mean, if you want more matches with Santa, we do have that Monger matchup. Which I think a lot of Santa was played there. So, we have more decks there. I just want to put this match in as sort of a another sort of another reason to show that this deck as a whole is still fairly strong, despite not actually having, or I guess, what's the right word for this? It's still a strong deck, and despite that Santa's in it, which may turn a lot of people away, it's still a strong deck. But if you want to see more of Santa actually being highlighted, you can go and see the manga video for further evidence. Cause I think that is a good, showcase to show that, oh, hey, this is what Santa can, do in the deck. So it's really just more examples. But overall, I think the deck did a great job. Otherwise, I think it's about time to start wrapping up the video. That being said, guys, if you guys enjoyed this little video, please make sure to give it a like, share with a friend, and comment down below not only your thoughts on the deck, but as Santa, or on Santa, excuse me, as well. While you're down there, if you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button. Help share support to the channel. Help us grow by clicking that subscribe button at no additional cost to you. I think a lot of that came out as gibberish, but we'll see. So with that being it for me, I just want to put this out there, sort of a further illustration on the deck that I was using in the last video, and sort of kind of explain why I think Santa is a decent card, if not, it's not a competitive card, but it's certainly one of those casual fun cards that is a decently strong one. So with that being said, guys, I think that's all from me for now. So until next time, stay gaming.